join us on Instagram, YouTube. Please share. Please share. And let me share as well. Let me send it on my WhatsApp status. We are live. Live, live, live. All right. And I'm about to say what I always say. Does anybody know what I'm about to say? I'm so excited. I'm always excited every Wednesday coming to you live about some great tips, nuggets, and thank you. Those of you who actually tune in, thank you so much for your words of encouragement. I get people sending me messages saying thank you so much, for the information. I really appreciate it. And I want to say thank you for supporting. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on this ride every Wednesday. So let me know who's on. Do we have anybody on yet? Anybody on yet? So that we can go ahead and get started. I want to give it a few minutes, and then we will start. We will start. Let me know as soon as anybody joins us, so we can go ahead and get started. All right. It's a great season in the real estate market. All right. I'm just gonna let people know we are live. We're not on Facebook today, but we're on Instagram and YouTube, so please share, please share. And those of you who usually tune in on Facebook, so sorry, but you can join Instagram and YouTube. Let me know if we have anybody on yet, so that I can greet the people. I can greet the people. All right. We are live. I'm just gonna wait about 30 more seconds before we get started. Is it because we're actually starting on time today? Okay, do we have somebody on?
Yes, Mustafa Bayomi.
Mustafa, how are you?
He says, what's the topic?
Oh, what's the topic? Well, today I'm going to talk about effective strategies for listing your property and negotiation tips, okay? So, Mustafa, stay tuned. I'm going to give you some keys that are universal keys that you can use it for negotiations, whether it's property, it's land, it's even a car, okay? These are just great negotiation tips. All right, anybody else on? Who else is on?
K in Shiraba says, hello, madam.
Hello, Inshrabat Taseo, how are you? Good to see you on. All right, anybody else before we get started?
Ibabsi is on.
Hi, how are you? Guys, if you have any questions or if you have any future topics you want me to discuss, please put it in the comment section. Anybody else?
Mrs. Hagan.
Hi, Miss Hagan, how are you? Good to have you on.
Yes. Abigail Ayin.
Hello, Abigail. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to send you an email soon. Good to have you on.
And Prop Hunt GH.
Yes, Prop Hunt. Hi. And I see somebody sending me a private message, so please take a look at that. Maybe they have some questions. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, today I'm going to be talking about a few things. First of all, I'm going to start off with how to prepare and market your home for sale. So I'm going to list some effective listing strategies, and I'm going to talk about negotiation tips. So this is it. This is the key thing here. A lot of times people just think it's just about listing your home. They don't get any expert advice or anything like that. And let me tell you, it's always good to make sure that you get with people who are knowledgeable about the industry that can help you and that can guide you in the process, okay? So let's start off. First of all, try and get a listing agent. If this is not your area of business or expertise, don't just wake up and decide, I'm going to list the home myself. Just engage the services of an expert, right? It's very, very important. So the first thing that I would say to you is get a real estate agent who has a proven track record, that has experience, expertise in the industry, and then sign a listing agreement, because of course nobody works for free, so there will be some commissions going to that agent. All right, so as soon as the agent, the real estate broker, lists the property, then it is time for you as the agent or realtor to begin marketing it. Okay. Now there are various platforms, and I've taught on different marketing strategies, but there are various platforms. There's a social media platform that you can list your property on. They are online real estate portals that you could list your property on. And then what we do as well is we have a database of clients that we've built over the years. So whenever there's a new listing or a new property alert, we do what we call e-marketing, all right, electronic marketing. You could do e-newsletters, and then have a website where you have your inventory of listings on there as well, okay? So make sure you start listing it as soon as you sign that agreement. That's number one. Number two, stage it. Make sure your property is presentable. If it's fully furnished, make sure it's decorated, it looks homey, it looks inviting, it looks welcoming, it looks beautiful. And even in the various online real estate platforms, you want to make sure that you give descriptions that will cause people to want to be able to rent or purchase the home. You know, highlight some of the key features of that property. Maybe it's the architectural feature that is very unique. You can highlight that. Maybe the location is very unique in the sense that it might be beachfront, it might be riverfront, it might have mountain views. Whatever it is, you want to make sure you highlight the unique feature of that property. Okay, so that's very, very important to make sure that you do that. Maybe it's nestled in a quiet neighborhood, and that could be a getaway for people. Maybe it's in an environment where you can hear the sound of the waves of the ocean. You know, these are all things that you can highlight. Maybe it's located somewhere that early hours of the morning you see the beautiful sunrise, you know, so you want to capture that, you know. So make sure, that's number two, stage your listing to make sure it stands out. All right, do something unique, do something different to just draw people to it. Okay, that's number two. Number three, please hire a professional photographer to take pictures. If you cannot afford to hire a professional photographer, then use a high quality or a good phone. You know, the iPhones 13, iPhone 14, maybe 15, 16 in the future, but use a good quality phone with a good camera to make sure that your pictures are not blurry. And you know, people should be able to look at the picture and say, I want this property, just based on the picture. It is not necessary for a client to have to come and do a physical viewing, because you do have individuals that live overseas, they're looking for a good investment, they see it, they like it. It's just like, you know, you're purchasing items, online shopping. You know, you don't go to the store to purchase it, you purchase it online. You should have pictures that cause people to want to purchase that property online, okay? So get a good photographer. These are, I'm talking about effective listing strategies, all right? That's number three. Now, and also, you know, there are different photographers for different things. You have food photography, you have property photographers. So make sure that if you're hiring a photographer, they have a portfolio of properties in their repertoire, so to speak, okay? Because you don't want to go and get a photographer that is a professional photographer for events or for weddings, but he's never taken properties before, okay? So make sure you're able to get a good photographer for that. And then finally, give your listing as much visibility and exposure as possible. And you can use various platforms, and it depends. These are $1 million homes, and you want to be able to attract the high-end clientele, then you're not going to post it in places where you won't get those individuals. So for example, Instagram, Facebook, you really don't get high net worth individuals on there. It's good for branding, and it's good for certain rentals, Airbnb, and that sort of thing. But $1 million properties, your strategy would be totally different. You would have partnerships with probably various private equity firms, or you would use these images to expose it to areas where you would get a lot of traffic for investors, okay? So you want to make sure that depending on the property that you're listing, you match it up with a particular niche market or a target audience, all right? So those are your effective listing strategies. Any questions so far? Any comments? Any input before I move on to negotiation tips?
Okay. Ebapsi says, "Hi Hannah, could I please book a 30-minute one-on-one meeting, please? Would not mind if it's even online, please."
Yes, so we will give you the office line. You can call in and make an appointment, okay? And I'm sure you can also go online to our website and complete the consultancy form on there. Okay, great. Looking forward to meeting with you. All right, anything else before we move on?
From Kofi Atiase, "Always love your live shows. Very good information."
Thank you, Kofi Atiase. Good to have you on. All right.
Okay. And Signature Beauty says, "Hello."
Hi, how are you? Good to hear from you, Signature Beauty.
Smart Cole says, "Looking good, madam."
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah.
I'm moving on to negotiation tips. Negotiation tips. All right. What I would say first, before you even get to the negotiation table, do your due diligence, do your research on that particular property. All right. Make sure you do a market analysis. Find out, what are the current market prices, 100,000 Ghana cedis, right? And I do my research and I find out in that neighborhood, in that area, that properties are going for 50,000 Ghana cedis. Guess what? It means that the seller has overpriced the cost of this property. So I'm not going to buy it for 100,000 cedis because the comparables in that area is 50,000 cedis. And I'll give you a perfect example. I had a client, somebody contact me and said, oh, the seller is selling the property for, a certain amount of money. And I said, well, let's look at comparables. You can get a valuer to go out there and, find out the cost or what the value of that property is. And the person listened, and the seller was selling it for $120,000. The valuer went out there and said, the value of the property is not more than, I think it was $60,000. So make sure that you get expert advice on the value of the property, and then you can use that as negotiation tool. And that's what happened, and the person ended up getting a discount on that property. So it's very, very important. Do of similar properties in that. Okay. Now, outside of that, you want to make sure that you drive around the area and find out what is happening in that neighborhood, what is happening in that community. The last thing you want to do is buy a home and right behind the house is a nightclub. Now you've bought a home and you're right next door to the nightclub. There's noise every night. You're not able to sleep, or every weekend or whatever they have the parties over there. And so now you've bought this house with a lot of noise. If you try to sell it, who's going to buy it? Okay? So you're looking at resale value is going to be low. Capital gains is going to be low because you're not going to make a huge profit off of it because of the noise next door. So if you really, really want that house, then that would be your negotiating club. So it's not really worth the price that you're asking for. So you want to make sure you do your research and you look at those things. You want to look at the size of the property as well. I mean, if this is a really small house and we know that the cost for prices in that area is 100 cedis per square meters, and this house is only 200 square meters, then we know that essentially it would be about 20,000. But maybe the person is charging you 300 per square meters. But you won't know that until you do your research and find out the cost per square meter, okay? The next thing you want to do is get an inspector. Why are people cutting costs? Why are people avoiding getting a building inspector? I think it's so crucial because the building inspector will check the important things like the foundation, the structure of the building, the plumbing, the electrical, the roofing. These are key things that you need to check the condition of, okay? Because you don't want to purchase this house only to find out that the roof caves in a year. Now, not only have you spent that money on that house, but now you have to deal with the cost of the roof, right? So get a building inspector to check the condition. And now you can use that as a negotiating tool, especially if it's not a new house. If it's an older house, check those 4 things. This is free advice for you. Foundation, plumbing, electrical, roofing, okay? Now, find out the age. How old is this house? If the house, and you know, I'm sorry to say, the maintenance culture in Ghana is almost little to non-existent, right? So people don't maintain the assets very well here. So if a property is older than 5 years, you definitely want an inspector to check the condition of the property, all right? Then look at other factors. We're talking about negotiation tips. Does it have a garden? Does it have any backyard space? Is it a single family detached, or is it semi-detached? Is it a townhouse? Is it an apartment? Is there, you know, parking? You know, these are all factors that can help with negotiation. And then the position of the home or the location. Is it in a good location? Is it a prime location? Is it in a non-prime location? Does it have access to good roads? Does it have access to schools, to hospitals, to restaurants, lifestyle amenities? These are all things that you need to find out, and you can use this as negotiations for your property. Does it have access to good schools? You know, if you're buying a property and you have a family, you obviously want to be close to good schools. So these are all things that you want to make sure you look out for, and then you can go to the seller and say, listen, this house, you know, has no access to good roads, and there's going to be a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle as you're driving to and from work and school and that sort of thing. Does it have access to water, to electricity in that area? Is it in a gated community? Is there security? You know, these are all things that you want to do research, you want to find out, and you can use it as negotiation for your sale or purchase of your home. And then the other thing, cash is key. How are you making this purchase? If you're using cash, use it as leverage. You know, for people to be able to get cash in such an economy right now is a huge plus. So you want to be able to use that as leverage as well. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I just talked about effective listing strategies and negotiation tips. Any questions? As I sip on my tea.
Mrs. Kwame from Instagram says hi.
Hello, madam.
Yes, that will be all.
Is that it for today? All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And please make sure you register right now. If you have not registered, please put down the link in the comment section. Register for the First Time Home Buyers in Ghana seminar. You can't miss it. This year is bigger. It's better. Accra International Conference Center. Tickets are now on sale. It is only, and I emphasize only, 150 Ghana cedis until September 1st, and then ticket prices are going up. So make sure you get the early bird discount for all attendees, all participants. We're going to have an incredible time. We're going to talk about 2 key things for the panel discussion. 1, affordable housing. Is it feasible in Ghana? We're going to have great discussions on that. And secondly, we're going to talk about building generational wealth through home ownership. You know, I'm so passionate about that. I don't want to get into that right now. I think I talked a little bit about it about 2 weeks ago, or was it last week, at some point. So make sure you tune in. And if you are a vendor, we are calling vendors. We are quickly filling the slots for vendors, okay? If you are a food vendor, I think we have a few food vendors that have already signed up yet. We want to get different vendors. So if you're Japanese, Chinese, continental, local, white, kenke, banku, tilapia, kebabs, whatever it is, make sure you sign up as a food vendor, okay? And then secondly, if you are a vendor, for the theme is all things home. So if you're a vendor and you sell anything home related that is outdoor, like electric wire gates, generators, fences, pavements, whatever it is that you sell, make sure you sign up. And then anything interior, from drapes, from blinds, curtains, rugs, blankets, bed sheets, anything home interior, make sure you sign up as well, okay? And then in the evening, from 6 to 9 p.m., all real estate professionals and the general public, we will be having an incredible networking session. There'll be a lot of business people, investors, real estate professionals, and we're gonna have a special guest that will be joining us, and that would include refreshments, food, drinks, hors d'oeuvres, finger foods. We're gonna have an incredible time. So make sure you register for that. That is separate, that is different. That's 250 Ghana cedis for that. So make sure you register. All right, I look forward to seeing you all at the First Time Home Buyers in Ghana event, which is endorsed by Beyond the Return. So we are on the calendar of events for December in Ghana. So we'll see you then. Any questions, comments?
Realtor Iben from Instagram says, great job, Hannah.
Oh, thank you so much, and great job to you too.
Okay.
All right, thank you. See you next week.